Hi, hello, how are you? Welcome back. I'm now going to do the business astrology and the business tarot. On the 20th of December, Venus is going to enter Aquarius. And, Venus in Aquarius is all about loving the unconventional, being intrigued by different thoughts. But one of the other things that's going to happen during this time is we're going to be hit pretty hard with some really strong truths. And so we're going to have to feel our way through those truths. Because Aquarius is not just about the unconventional, but it's also about freedom of expression. And that's going to be difficult for us when we're telling hard truths or hearing hard truths, because sometimes we don't want to hear the truth. And particularly when it comes to our businesses or decisions we've made in our business, sometimes we don't want to acknowledge or hear the truth. It will also be a time when we'll be unbelievably fair when we're evaluating things, which will also be difficult, but will make us more receptive to hearing the truth, because if it comes from a place of good intent and we believe that the person is being fair, we are going to be open and listening to that. Now, the Sun is going to enter into Capricorn, so we're going to be thinking a lot about ambition and plans of expansion and making that grow. It's all about accomplishment and completion of things, and it's also about putting in place and establishing boundaries and frameworks. And particularly if we're wanting to put together a new sense of ourselves in terms of the business or even a new business idea, this is a really good time for planning. But just be aware at the same time that we're going to be wanting to be doing the planning, we're going to have Venus in Aquarius, and this is where we are going to be our very own devil's advocate. So we're going to be constantly throwing up counter positions and some unconventionality about our new business and business ideas. So, and also some hard truths about that. So this is going to be an interesting time. So it's not going to be the easiest of times. There's going to be a little bit of conflict, but remember, the intention of the conflict is to bring us towards a better decision and a better understanding of how we want to be and where we want to be and what really is this new business idea, this new concept, and is it going to work for us? And remember, this is also not a time for us to be throwing the baby out with the bathwater, which means it's not a time for reinvention in terms of just getting rid of everything, although we may have made some decisions to get rid of elements of us. This is a time for us to be thinking about tweaking stuff or tweaking our ideas, our business process, and our thoughts in terms of moving it more towards something that is a much better place for us. And just as I got talking about tweaking, we had a plane, and my neighbours have started building their new fence. Oh, life. See, I told you it was full of tests. So this is for us to start moving in small steps, tweaking ideas rather than revamping everything. But the tweaking might just be in areas where we were not thinking we would be tweaking. So that's quite interesting. I'm going to start the tarot now, because I'm going to come back to you and do some bigger work with the astrology, because we are coming up to eclipse season. Eclipse season is starting on Boxing Day, right after Christmas. So I'm thinking that this Christmas might be a very interesting Christmas for some of us. Now, I know Christmas and New Year can be really stressful for some people. So, take some time out, take some breath, and take the pressure off. It can be a stressful time. It doesn't have to be necessarily, but 9 out of 10 times there's some stresses attached to us, because most of us not necessarily have great relationships with all of the family. So let me see what's coming up with the cards. And interestingly enough, I'm going to use a pack of cards for the tarot that people either love or hate. It's one of the oldest known depictions of the tarot. It's called the Tsar, and it is early Christian imagery. applied to the tarot, which some people find incredibly challenging. Okay, so what have we got coming out? We've got the Fool. Perfect to have the Fool at this time, because the Fool has no baggage, so it means you're completely open to what is being there and being ready to go with that. Then we've also got, with the Fool, the Hanged Man. So this also came out for the personal reading. So this is what I was saying before about our thinking. It's a time for thinking, testing scenarios. It's not actually a time for doing, because we're going to find that these two opposing, Venus in Aquarius and the Sun in Capricorn, there are going to be some elements of that which are consistent, like the faithfulness, that's very consistent. Acting fairly is very consistent, and truth is very consistent between Capricorn and Aquarius. But there's going to be some elements that will be in opposition, which is the unconventionality of Venus in Aquarius and that love of unconventionality, which we're going to have with Venus in Aquarius. And Capricorn, which is all about boundaries and establishing frameworks. And here we are, Venus in Aquarius going, no, I'm challenging that, I'm challenging that, and I'm challenging that. So, Devil's Advocate. King of Swords, this is us being in our master of our thoughts. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to acknowledge in your thinking that you are testing everything and it's open season and all ideas are welcome, all truths are welcome, and to not get too emotionally attached to any thought or any thought process that's new, that's going to be challenging you, or likewise that you feel you need to defend because it's been with you for some time. And then here we have the Seven of Wands. And it's interesting to have the sevens. This Seven of Wands is depicting, can you see? Can we go put it so that, bring it close. You might need to come in and have a look at that. But you've got two knights riding into battle. And I think this sits well, this seven, because what this Seven of Wands is saying, you've got basically two realities that are coming into conflict with each other. And one of them is the reality that has been, and the second one is the reality that we want to create. And these are coming into to oppose each other. They're not necessarily in harmony. Your job is to explore these oppositions to find the harmony. And I think that's really interesting to have that come up. I just was asking about more cards and I got a yes. The difficulty, of course, in this time is it's really difficult at this time to be fluid, because there's a lot of formality. Even around Christmas, there's a lot of formality. There's a lot of unstated rules that have to be applied and celebrated, and that's quite interesting. Oh, after the Seven of Wands, we get the Eight of Wands, which is fantastic. This is about ideas and messages coming in, and so there's going to be a wealth of thought. And this thought is great, and capture it all and be light with it in terms of not necessarily taking it lightly, but at the same time being rather objective about it and just letting it sort of play a little bit to see what sits with you and what doesn't sit. Okay, one more. There we are. The Magician. And this is interesting because this is also talking about the resurrection. And I love the Magician because it is about the new beginning. It is about a rebirth. It's about all of the aces coming together. And this is about a reassurance to you that there is something really wonderful coming and in your thought processes that is going to really appeal to you. It's going to resonate really deeply. You're going to really want to go with that. And it's perfect timing to do it. And I'm assuming, based on all of this, that what you're going to be faced with is something which has got a little bit of risk associated with it, or you're going to associate it as being risky, or other people around you are going to associate it as being risky. but it is well worth exploring and moving to it. Now, the other thing I'm going to say to you, this is not a time for something immediately brand new. It's a process that you're getting towards. So it is new, but it's going to be a little bit of movement and some fine-tuning to get it to the place where you can work with it and really put it in place. But I think it looks wonderful. We've got the Fool, we've got the Magician, and we've got the Hangman. The Hangman is saying to you, take the time to explore all the things that are coming to you, and don't be afraid to explore the difference. Don't be afraid to take two things that are in opposition and explore them and find within them those things that are consistent. Because even with Capricorn and Aquarius, which on the surface of it appear completely opposite, they do have some things they share and intertwine quite nicely. All right, well, there you are. See you soon, because I'll be back on the weekend to talk to you about the eclipse season that's coming. All right, and that's going to be Action Stations. Bye-bye.